E3 is a really hard race. Because you have all those climbs, more packed together, and then at the end it's a bit more easy. But all these races are decided so early. It's like, I don't know when the time back was, but was it 70K to go?
Yeah, it was like 81K to go at the bottom, and
it's race over. Selection made, done. Nobody. It was clear already from then. This is the top three.
Everybody, welcome back to the Move Plus. I'm Spencer Martin. I'm here with Johan Bruyneel for our what's turned into a semi-weekly show, with outcomes taking over the Friday spot on some days. But we are going to break down today's E3 clash of the Classics Titans, with Mathieu van der Poel winning, Mads Pedersen second, Filippo Ganna third, as well as the GC action at Volta Catalunya, and Johan's thoughts on the crash fest in the final few kilometers at Brugge de Panne. But before we get into that, we want to talk about today's sponsor. The first one is Ridge Wallet. I want to talk about Ridge Wallet because I used to have a wallet that was way too bulky. Went on, I don't even know why this sticks out in my mind. Went on a wedding weekend, threw my wallet away mid-weekend because it was too big. I was like tipping over as I was sitting down on the plane, sitting down for every meal. I was like, this is out of control. I need to get a slimmer wallet. And that is where Ridge Wallet came in handy, because as you can see, it's a slim little wallet. You can fit all your cards in there. It also has a place for an AirTag tracker. So if you lose your wallet a lot, that's perfect. And you can get it in 50 different colors. I kind of have the burnt orange one. So when I go to Austin to go to the We Do HQ, I don't get bullied by all the Texas fans. I can kind of blend in, even though I'm not an actual Texas fan. But Ridge wallets are made with premium materials like aluminum, titanium, and carbon fiber, just like bikes. So get whichever one your favorite bike is made out of, and then you can have material matching between your bikes and your wallets. And they also have, I didn't know about this until recently, but they have Ridge wallets have RFID blocking technology. I didn't know what that was, but that is what it's like the tap technology that your cards have. It makes sense. I didn't think about it, but people can use it in reverse. They can just go tap your wallet in a crowded subway, in a crowded tube station, and steal your credit card information. But with Ridge wallets, they can't break that RFID barrier. It's kind of like a mini Faraday cage you carry around in your pocket. It has over 100,000 5-star reviews. And so if this sounds interesting to you, and I would say it is, the slim wallet lifestyle is the way to live. Don't live any other way. And Ridge is having their once a year anniversary sale. Get up to 40% off at ridge.com/themove. Head to ridge.com/themove, spelled out like THEMOVE, to see their biggest sale of the year. After you purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Please say us so that we get credit for it. Our second sponsor is Bicycle, and I want to talk about them today because now is the best time to sell your bike or components. I'm sure you have a garage full, a winter garage full of bikes and things sitting in there that you need to get rid of so you can buy new stuff for the beginning of this year. And you can prepare for the season ahead by selling all of those things on Bicycle. Just go to bicycle.com/WeDo and use code WeDo2025 for an exclusive offer. I believe it's 30% off a seller fee. And you might be saying, well, this sounds great, but this is going to be a pain in the butt. Like what, I got to box my bike up, list it. That's going to be a pain in the butt. No, it's really easy. All you have to do is upload a picture of your bike, fill out a form, takes about 5 minutes or less. And Bicycle even sends you packaging materials for a small fee and coordinates the entire shipping process. Someone will come to your house and pick up your bike for you, and you can ship it to someone when you sell it. And if you're buying one, you have the security knowing that Bicycle is backing up the purchase. So if that sounds interesting, again, bicycle.com/WeDo. Use code WeDo2025 for an exclusive offer for WeDo or the Move Plus listeners. All right, Johan, let's start with E3 just because it's freshest in my mind. That's kind of the biggest event of the day. But the cliff notes are Mathieu van der Poel was caught behind a split, like an early crash. Big split, minutes, big split. His team didn't really panic. They just pulled it back. It's all together going into the Tyenberg. Interesting, Ineos and Little Trek are the ones pressing the issue going into it for Filippo Ganna and Mads Pedersen. Mads Pedersen attacks, looks great. He's looked great all season. Van der Poel follows. They catch, there's 2 riders out front. They catch him. And Van der Poel just settles in and says, I have the Olquare Monk coming up. Maybe I'll just launch a big attack there. He did. It looked, but this is like what we've seen in the last few E3s. It looks like Pedersen can, or whoever's chasing, in this case, it was Pedersen. It looks like they're going to catch him. It's like a 12, 15-second gap. And then Van der Poel, he must just be settling into his pace. And then he just kind of slowly buries you. It was over a minute by the end to Pedersen. It was over 2 minutes to Ganna, and then almost 3 minutes to the peloton, which is super impressive. I mean, you would know better than I do, but I don't remember E3 being raced like this 15, 20 years ago.
No, for sure not. For sure not. Although E3 has been won a lot of times with a solo attack. I've also read somewhere today that in the last 15 years, 8 times the winner of E3 also won the Tour of Flanders. It's a great general repetition, It's a mini Tour of Flanders. It's a really hard race, It's 208 kilometers. So that's different than a monument, but all the climbs are there, and very, very hard. It's sometimes in a different order. But yeah, I mean, listen, what can we say? Van der Poel, it's not a surprise. The way he won Milan-San Remo, the way he won his first race when he started, and especially today, this is his terrain, this is backyard, this is what he excels in. And, there was no tactics involved, no surprise. The only tactics was that his team had to chase for a very long time because the crash split the peloton, and then there were some teams that were taking advantage of the crash to really drive it. I think mainly, I haven't seen everything, but as far as I could see, it was Groupama who was really, really pulling a lot. I don't know if there was any other team. But anyway,
I assume that's for Stefan Koen. Is that?
Yeah, it was for Koen, yeah. Van der Poel, I think Ganna, Pedersen, and Van Aert, they were all in the back, I guess, in the second part of the peloton. At some point, I saw, because we were driving, I was in the car, so at that point, I didn't really watch closely, but I saw 2 minutes between the 2 big pelotons. That's a lot, especially, it was early in the race. It was still 130, 140K to go, but still, it obviously compromises the chances of Van der Poel because he has to sacrifice 4 guys maybe of his team already that he needs afterwards. So I also think that was a little bit the reason why he went earlier than normal. Although, now in hindsight, he didn't go that early actually because he kept his cool. When they came to the Tyenberg, it was Pedersen who took the initiative and Van der Poel followed. Didn't really go full gas. Even took the time to let Ganna come back because Ganna was gapped a bit. And the way Van der Poel is racing now, I've seen him, race tactically very smart in Milan-San Remo. Even if in his first race when he started, what was it? Was it in Denain? Or was it in Grand Prix Samain or something in Belgium?
Yeah,
I guess one of those races. He tried and he saw that, it was not hard enough and he just decided, okay, I'll wait for the sprint. He's unbeaten for the moment in one-day races this season. He did 3 one-day races. He won all 3 of them. Today was fair and square. He was put in a position of defense, had to sacrifice his team, which was not the plan. But this guy can adapt to situations that you say, hey, this guy really thinks, and changes the plan. On the Tyenberg, he just followed Pedersen. On the Paterberg, which is the other steep climb, which is the last climb of Tour of Flanders. The same thing. He let Pedersen take the initiative, did not move, and then basically went on the Quaremont, which is the hardest and the longest one, which is, I think, also a great general repetition for what's to come, next week. Because the Quaremont is the climb where Pogačar dropped Van der Poel 2 years ago. It's the longest climb of the cobbled climb. So this was definitely a test for him also, and I think that in Flanders, I think he still needs to be a few percentages better. But if you look at today's stage, at today's race, my conclusion in general, without going into details, is that it's Van der Poel and the rest, and there's only one guy who can follow Van der Poel, and that's going to be Tadej Pogačar. Nobody else can follow him. Pedersen tried. Pedersen rode really, really well. Couldn't follow him. Kept losing time. Finished 1 minute down. Ghana was in incredible shape. Tried to follow. Finished 2 minutes down. Wout van Aert, which is a concern. I'm starting to get concerned now about Wout van Aert. Even if it was his first race back after a period that he didn't race and he was on altitude, and you could still say, okay, you know what? The circumstances, maybe he comes back straight from altitude, straight into the races. This is not the Wout van Aert that we're used to see, man. His first races were not great. If we all remember
Classic Cayenne. Remember that?
Cayenne, het Nieuwsblad, Kuurne. In those two first Flemish classics, I found it remarkable that he was extremely badly positioned in the critical points. And today we saw the same thing, and even if it was strung out, I saw Wout van Aert not at the place that a Wout van Aert should be, being one of the co-favorites. And looking back at the images, it's you could say, well, badly positioned, but to me, it looked like he didn't have the legs to be in a good position. So I hope I'm wrong, because I like Wout van Aert. I'm a Van Aert fan, and I would love to see him get a big win. He would deserve it. But I'm worried. I'm worried that he can close this gap conditionally within the next week, or even for Flanders and Roubaix, which are the two big goals. I hope I'm wrong, but it doesn't look good.
I mean, I was concerned as far back as Cayenne.
I know. And I told you, I remember I told you, Spencer, Spencer, come on, don't panic. It's still early. But I have to say, your concerns were justified.
It's
if
just
I see what I see now.
It's crazy to think. So Van der Poel's won the last two editions of E3. Wout van Aert won the two before that. It's like almost hard to imagine that now. 2023 wasn't that long ago, but he beat Van der Poel in a sprint in Pogačar at the end of this race. I don't know what it is, but this is very unscientific. You just watch him and there's no aura. Yeah, he's always kind of stuck in the group, and
he's working the bike. He's working the bike, which is what I have not seen in the past. Like a great Wout van Aert just flies. It's just smooth. Now he's working it. And I'm pretty sure he will agree. I mean, he obviously he can't publicly say, "Hey, I'm not feeling great," but he knows. A rider feels, and well, then there's the theory that people say, he had so many bad crashes and now he's afraid to fight for his position. Nah, I don't think that's. Once a guy like that is in the race, these guys friggin' fight with their elbows. It's they don't let themselves being pushed away if somebody comes and leans into you, and it happens all the time. It's a war. So I think it's more a matter of not having the legs to be in the front.
I mean, you could argue he's in a more dangerous position right now. When you're sitting like 20, 30 riders back going into these big climbs, like you don't want to be there. You want to be where Van der Poel is. Yeah. You want to be where Pedersen is. That's safer. But I mean, here's what's like the bottom line from the day. Mads Pedersen might be on the best form we've ever seen him in his life. Filippo Ganna might be on the best form we've ever seen him. They finished 1 in 2 minutes behind Mathieu van der Poel. So, yeah, I think you're correct. There's one rider that can currently challenge him. That's Pogačar. I mean, did you see how smooth he was when they got, like after the Clermont, when they got to the pavement? It was like watching the footage sped up. He was pedaling like that well over the top of the climb.
Yeah, he was. I mean, he afterwards he said he was suffering. He suffered a lot. I don't know what was happening at the end, because he had a minute plus and he was constantly talking in the radio in the last 5K. I don't know what he was doing. But he afterwards said that it was hard. He said it's a really hard race. And I agree. E3 is a really hard race. Because you have all those climbs, more packed together, and then at the end it's a bit more easy. But man, all these races are decided so early. It's like, I don't know when the Tienberg was. Was it 70K to go?
Yeah, I think it was like 81K to go at the bottom, and
it's race over. Selection made, done. Nobody. It was clear already from then. This is the top three.
Yeah,
the two other guys were there because they were in front, but there was a matter of time when they were getting dropped. And it was also clear that Van der Poel was very comfortable. Even when Pedersen went full gas on the Tienberg and full gas on the Paterberg, Van der Poel looked really in control.
What did you think of Ineos's racing tactics? Did you like those? Like the aggressive, take the race to...
Yeah, I mean, at that point, and especially also if you look at the composition of the team, you kind of know that this is your leader, right? So it's a matter of, okay, let's put him in the front, and then nothing can happen to us as a team anymore, because we put him in a position, he's out of trouble now, it's up to him. I think it was logical what they did. I've seen some debates and discussions on social media of people who say, what are they thinking, Pedersen and Ghana? If they are with Van der Poel, why would they work with him? It's suicide. You make it easy for him. I've seen one guy, a YouTuber, who says that Van der Poel is the strongest, and Pedersen and Ghana should have not worked with him, and he even suggests that they should have set up and wait for the team, and then with the two teams together, reel in Van der Poel. Man, let me tell you, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like, it has never been like that, and it will never be like that. Once that selection is made, once these big dogs are in front and they've made the effort, you know what that means, Spencer? That they're the best of their team for a reason. They're the leader, they're the strongest. Their teammates are fucked by then.
Yeah.
Once they're in front and they made the effort, forget about your teammates. They're done. They've spent every single thing they had. And on top of that, quality-wise, the leaders are just better riders than their teammates. It's for a reason. So there's no way that they could have set up and say, okay, well, it's not like writing a little plan on a paper and we'll do this, okay, Van der Poel is strong, let him out there, we'll sit up. You're not playing with little, on a chessboard, it doesn't work like that.
It's almost like reduced in complexity. People say this all the time. It's like junior racing, or, when you're younger, you're in college and you're racing and the stronger guy just rides away. And there's like, okay, we can all gather together and pull, but we're pulling slower than that person's riding. So we're not going to catch them. Like, that's what these big time pro races are like now.
Yeah.
It's like there's no tactic that can help you there.
Well, there's most of we have 3-4 riders. I don't remember the stats there, but I saw, you've talked already about it a few times. The last 14 big races were won by 3 riders or something. So it's
the 16 out of the last 17 major one-day races have been won by Van der Poel, Pogačar, Evenepoel. The 17th race was won by Philipsen with help from Van der Poel.
Yeah.
So it's 4 teams having won, or 3 teams having won the last 17
major
that's great.
Races. Yeah. So these guys are just so much better than the rest, and even Van der Poel. There's just one thing that could potentially be a danger if he's overconfident, goes too early, and runs out of gas. It has happened already, but it happens less and less. Once a guy like Van der Poel decides, okay, I'm going, he already knows he's going to make it to the finish. Whether it's alone or with someone else, but he's making it to the finish. He's not running out of gas.
Yeah. So he's 30, I believe. Him and Ben are both 30. Also, the cousin of the argument you just said is I saw a lot of people on Twitter. This was really bothering me. Like, Pedersen should sit up and wait for Ghana. It's like Pedersen just dropped Ghana. Like Ghana has nothing to offer him. And do you remember Tom Dumoulin? This still haunts me. At the top of the Finestra, waited for Sebastian Reichenbach. He gave up. He probably gave up the race right there because Reichenbach was like, "Hey, why'd you wait for me? I have nothing to offer you." Yeah. It's like, that's never a good idea. Don't do that, kids.
If you're dropped, it's for a reason.
Yes, unless someone's a second or two behind you. Yeah, maybe
or unless somebody is behind because of a mechanical or something, or but this was. Listen, they got dropped. They got dropped on the Quaremont, and that was it.
But do you feel like Van der Poel used to? It's like he's getting more refined with age. He used to have all these, ups and downs through this time of year. It's like, attack, and he bonks and he gets caught. It just doesn't feel like that happens as much anymore.
Less and less. And listen, it can still happen, but it's going to be exceptional. It's going to be an exception. It's not going to happen. Like, that's not going to be the rule anymore. He's done it too many times now. He has everything under control. Once he decides I'm going, he's gone.
What do you think about what's with these strange race schedules? So Van der Poel's next race is Tour of Flanders. Pogačar's next race, Tour of Flanders. That's a long layoff before. I've never been a monuments racer myself, but it seems like most people, big favorites in years past, like, wouldn't wait that long between these races. Like, is that a risk at all?
Well, no, for Van der Poel, absolutely not. He's in top shape, and he's got it figured out, man. He knows how to train. I mean, these guys, look, and Van der Poel and Pogačar are two great examples. People have this idea or perception that they're super talented. And they're like more playful, and they take it as it comes. Then you have other riders like, for example, a Van Aert or a Ghana or Jurgensen, or that they're super hard workers. Let me tell you, these guys are hard workers too. Van der Poel and Pogačar, they train like animals, and they know what they're doing. And it looks to me like and especially in Van der Poel's case, but Tadej also. That Van der Poel has it figured out, man. He knows now how to train. He's going to train very hard. He's probably going to do some recon. He already did an impressive recon, I've been told. I don't know if it was just after Milan-San Remo, or I don't remember now, but it apparently, I've spoken with someone who was there. It was unbelievable, the recon, like, flying. So he's probably going to do another recon of Flanders, and I don't know if he's now going to stay in Belgium or if he's going to go train 3-4 days in Spain. That's also a possibility. These guys prefer to train in the good weather and making sure that they have all the odds on their side. That's the controllables, right? If you race another of these races, the risk is there that you get caught up in a crash and you can't defend your chances in the big appointments. Then these guys go for big appointments now. That's the only thing that counts. It doesn't matter if Van der Poel wins Dwars door Vlaanderen. It's a big race for a lot of riders. For Van der Poel, it's a Mickey Mouse race now. Dwars door Vlaanderen.
Yes. And I mean, my follow-up to that was going to be, I fell victim to it myself. Like, at what point are these not weird lead ups, but this is just the way it should be done? Like, if Van der Poel and Pogačar are doing it, obviously this isn't scalable because someone's going to race Gent Wevelgem and win. Someone's going to race Dwars and win. And like, that's an important win for most riders.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So it's like Mads Pedersen can't start skipping every race and just race the big appointments, because that wouldn't go very well.
Yeah.
But I do wonder, like, at what point does Van der Poel's does this become the template? Every big classic star starts doing this. I mean, it kind of makes sense to go home and go to Spain. That sounds way nicer than being in Belgium for the next 9 days.
Well, it's also, if you go to Spain, for these classics, you don't need to train on the long climbs, You need, but he's what can Van der Poel right now? What can he do to improve? I mean, he's super explosive. He's in great condition. He just needs to stay healthy and not injured. So going to Spain in the good weather and not race dangerous races, those two risks you kind of have in your own hands there, right?
Versus, I guess, Van Aert. If Van Aert skipped all the races before Flanders, that would be silly because he does need to improve. Like he
also needs to win. He also needs to have a good result. So if Van der Poel and Pogačar are not there, that increases his chances of a good result in what's all still important races, like Gent-Wevelgem and Dwars of Vlaanderen and others.
I mean, what do you think of Wiesma outside of Van Aert? I mean, Jorgensen was 9th, good result, but just I can't get this out of my head. Like even 1, 2, 3 years ago, it was just like this yellow wall at the front of the race, and you rarely see them anymore.
I know it's unbelievable how fast things can change. As our members know, because we did a Q&A yesterday for the members, I was just 3 days with Lance here in Europe. We were in Slovenia. And we were talking about it in the car, how things can change. I remember we had this discussion like the Wout van Aert of 2 years ago and 3 years ago in the Tour de France, who was Superman. Went away whenever he wanted, won 3 stages, one on the Ventoux, a high mountain stage, he won a sprint stage and a time trial. And then, the year after, he was incredible, winning stages again, doing an amazing job for Vingegaard. 2 years later, he's been surpassed by I don't know how many riders who are now better than him. It changes. And in his defense, he had a few really bad accidents, right? Last year, the 2 crashes of Van Aert had an unbelievable impact on his season and probably still carries the consequences of some of those crashes. He had a terrible crash in Dwars of Vlaanderen and then a really bad crash and a bad knee injury and in the Tour of Spain. But still, man, it's sad to see that things evolve so fast in cycling and new guys come and it's like all of a sudden, hey, who was considered one of the top 3 best riders in the world now all of a sudden can't win a race anymore.
Yeah, it's shocking. Yeah. It's also... Yeah, so members Q&A, if you're a member and you're like, what the heck, I missed that. It's in the members portal, the recording. So just go to the members portal. It's the first one. You can watch it. It was fun. I highly recommend it. But on Van Aert, on time passing quickly, it wasn't, we weren't on that show, but on the move, the Tour de France move, they were pretty critical of Tadej Pogačar winning all the stages. But my pushback would be win as much as you can because you don't know, it's not going to be there forever, And I think about Van Aert. He had all those great years, won 1 monument. We're talking about the guy like he just retired. He could still win 2 monuments this year. But, it's like you got to strike while the iron is hot because you don't know when it's going to be over.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially with the few guys like Mathieu van der Poel, Pogačar, Remco. Ayuso is now, coming very, very coming in very hot, on a super high level. These guys have to take the opportunity when they're there, man, because you never know what's going to happen.
I mean, like Filippo Ganna, I feel for the guy. He's incredible. He's on incredible form, and he might get skunked this classic season. I do kind of wonder how Roubaix is going to play out. All those weaknesses are taken away. That would be the race if he can be good at Roubaix.
Yeah, he's going to be good at Roubaix, Spencer. He's made for Roubaix. He's a powerhouse. It's flat. It's the best race for him.
It's pretty crazy.
Will he be able to beat Mathieu van der Poel if Van der Poel has this condition or the same condition as last year in Roubaix? I would say probably. Easily, no way.
I mean, could anyone? Could peak Tom Boonen? I don't know.
No, the performance last year of Mathieu van der Poel in Roubaix was exceptional. I've rarely seen this. It's going to be very difficult to repeat that. But hey, he's well on the way. It looks like Pogačar on his terrain and Van der Poel on his terrain. They're like, okay, they're the same level as last year, if not better.
Yeah, I know. It's grim if you're his rival. I don't know what my advice would be. Just target races where he's not at, because it's going to be tough to beat him. But I guess we never know. Here's what I was going to say. It's crazy that Pogačar is going to be riding against Ghana at Roubaix. Ghana might be, 20, 22 kilos heavier than him? And they're going to be going head-to-head in a flat race.
Yeah, 23, 24 kilos.
That's fun. That's just a good time right there. That shows you the golden age we're in. That's wild stuff. But let's take a quick break for a couple more ads, and then we'll get into Volta Catalunya. This episode is brought to you by Caldera Lab. Let's be honest, cycling is not great for your skin. Whether you're riding on a warm, sunny day or through cold, dry conditions, your skin is going to need a little bit of help. And that's exactly what Caldera Lab is here for. Their high-performance skincare is designed specifically for men. It's simple, effective, and backed by science. They have a wide range of products, but my favorite is the base layer. It's a nutrient-rich moisturizer infused with plant stem cells and snow mushroom extract. These are known for their deep hydration and skin rejuvenation properties, which I need plenty of after being out on the bike. It absorbs fast, leaving a non-greasy matte finish, so your skin feels hydrated without the shine. I use it on my face as intended, but I don't even know if I'm supposed to say this, but I also use it on my legs after shaving my legs for the cycling. I can't recommend it enough. They also have a cleaner called the Clean Slate. It is a fantastic day and night, morning and evening cleaner that gets all that sunscreen and grit and grime off your face after you ride. And I don't know if this is like what it's supposed to make you feel like, but it comes in glass bottles. And I think they do that for the environment to cut down on the amount of plastic waste, but it makes you feel special, makes you feel like you're a king in your castle using fancy glass bottles. Whenever you reach for it, you'll feel like you're at the fanciest resort you've ever stayed at. But in reality, you're just at home in your shower. So skincare doesn't have to be complicated, but it should be good. Upgrade your routine with Caldera Lab and see the difference for yourself. Go to calderalab.com/TheMove and use TheMove, spelled out THEMOVE, at checkout for 15% off your first order. That's calderalab.com/TheMove and use TheMove at checkout for 15% off your first order. This episode is brought to you by Troscriptions. Here's a question to consider. What do you need right now on your path to health optimization? Well, whatever it is, you're in luck, because Troscriptions has created a science-backed, pharmaceutical-grade, physician-designed, and rigorously tested formula that has created a product that can give you address needs such as needing more energy, more focus, more sleep, better immune system function, and less anxiety. I know I need all of those. So I am a big fan of Troscriptions, which uses an innovative delivery system of buccal troche, which is a small dissolvable lozenge that is placed between your upper cheek and gum. This makes it extremely fast acting, taking only 15 to 30 minutes to take effect. And each troche is meticulously calibrated and scored, allowing users to easily titrate their dosage to meet their individual needs. It's as simple as just breaking off however many blocks you need. You can go 1 to 4, 2, 3, however many you need. And their diverse product line helps you with a variety of things like enhanced focus and productivity, decreased inflammation, and improved cellular health and energy, relaxation and stress relief, and making it easier to fall asleep, stay asleep, and wake up feeling rested, as well as, this is like reading a list of things I need, as well as supporting immune system health, increasing deep sleep, and fighting infection. If you have kids, this is basically something you have to buy right now. And if you want to buy, you can give it a try at troscriptions.com/TheMove or enter TheMove at checkout for 10% off your first order. That's Troscriptions, spelled out TROSCRIPTIONS.com/TheMove for 10%. That's also spelled out THEMOVE for 10% off your first order. Troscriptions.com/TheMove for 10% off. All right, back to the episode. So Johan, Volta Catalunya, Primož Roglič, Juan Ayuso locked in a battle here. I guess I didn't pay close enough attention to Volta Catalunya ever. I didn't realize there's no time trial. Is that an every year thing?
It's been a few years already, I guess, that there's no more time trial. Yeah, that's true.
It's made it quite exciting because Stage 3, first uphill finish. Ayuso wins. Roglič kind of like bobbled it. I don't know if you watched that closely, but
I saw it. Yeah,
throws the bike after the line. Ayuso takes the lead on time bonuses. Stage 4, Roglič comes back. Super impressive, I thought, because Ayuso has UAE lead it out. Adam Yates, I mean, think about that. Adam Yates is leading out Juan Ayuso. Like Adam Yates got third at the Tour 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. Ayuso goes from two-ish K out. Roglič doesn't respond immediately, and you think,
very smart riding from Roglič.
And then he just kind of slowly reeled him in. And then even after he caught him, he's stuck in this. It was a real tricky situation because he had like Enric Mas coming from behind. Mikel Landa doesn't want them to catch them. So he's leading out the sprint against Ayuso, who's fast, and then has to lead himself out for the sprint, wins the sprint, takes, I think altogether took like took an advantage of 6 time bonus seconds on Ayuso. So they were tied on time.
Yeah.
Ayuso got a second today at an intermediate sprint. So now he's in the lead by 1 second with 2 stages remaining, one of which is an 88 kilometer circuit race in Barcelona with a lot of hills. So going to be an exciting ending, but
yeah. Well, I think I personally think the guy who wins the stage tomorrow, I mean, if tomorrow is an uphill finish, I think it's about 6 kilometers, close to 7.5%, 8%. So decent, difficult climb. These 2 guys are clearly the strongest. So it's just a matter of who wants to ride with who. Because the other guys are not far behind, Mikel Landa is not far behind. Enric Mas is not far behind in those stages. Who else is there? Like Lenny Martinez is there also, I guess. He's also close. And so basically those guys need to go for the stage win because they need the bonifications to make a difference. Because for now, neither Ayuso or Roglič have been able to drop each other. So I think tomorrow's stage is decisive. The circuit race in Barcelona, it's on Montjuic. A pretty difficult climb, but there's also bonifications, I think. I don't know if the bonifications are on top of the climb, because one of the particular things in this year's Tour of Catalunya is that there's 3 bonification sprints every stage, which makes it interesting. We all know that the king of the bonifications of this last 5 years is Primož Roglič. He's won a lot of races with Pony.
Yeah, he's won Grand Tours by riding the race slower than the other person and won on bonus seconds.
Yeah. But still, he's up against Juan Ayuso, who is in an amazing shape. Very aggressive rider also. So I'm curious. I can't say who's going to win, man. I'd say Roglič has more experience, but Ayuso, man, for his young age, this guy races like a seasoned professional. Makes very little mistakes also.
I feel like he's gotten significantly better too in the last 15 months, let's say.
And more mature. He's gotten a lot more mature.
Yeah, cuts a different figure. I mean, he's more athletic and probably graceful than Roglič, but they almost are. It's like holding a mirror up. Yeah, even they're literally on the times. Like they can't drop each other. They both have such a explosive finish. But if you would have told me before this race, Johan, there's 3 bonus seconds before it's each stage, like, okay, well, who cares? It's a week-long stage race with mountains. Like Pogačar won this race by almost 4 minutes last year. It's like, it's not going to come down to bonus seconds, but it might be like Tour Down Under where it comes down to bonus seconds. It's pretty surprising.
Yeah. Catalunya is a lot harder than Tour Down Under. So, but when you have 2 of these guys who are so close to each other, it might come down to the bonuses. Anyway, it's going to be exciting. Tomorrow's stage is interesting. It's the last climb is pretty hard.
And this is basically our pre-Giro d'Italia, because I have to imagine these are the 2 top contenders for the Giro.
Yes, definitely. Then there's also, I still haven't seen anything promising from him, but he's a top quality rider also, and he goes full gas for the Giro. Is Richard Carapaz, ex-winner of the Giro, second in the Giro, third in the Tour. Podiums in all Grand Tours. For the moment, he's not showing anything spectacular, but hey, he's a big engine. So I think him is going to be interesting to watch. Then we also have Egan Bernal, who goes full gas for the Giro again. We can't say that for the moment Egan Bernal is at the level of Roglič and Ayuso, right? I think Primož Roglič is the favorite, especially over 3 weeks. The guy's a calculator, the silent killer, the silent assassin. He's obviously, not improving anymore, but his level is still incredibly high to win any race except the Tour.
Yeah, it's kind of like a sad, I guess. It's impressive, though. It's really impressive because he's 35. If you remember 2 years ago, you're like, this all sounds familiar. He was locked in a close battle with another up-and-coming rider, Remco Evenepoel, at the same race. And if you remember, on stage 2 of that year, he was beat on the first uphill finish, remember, by Giulio Ciccone.
Yeah.
And it's Roglič, he doesn't have it anymore. And then he kind of slowly dismantled Remco over the rest of that race. It's like, is this guy going to be taking on like the up and comers of the sport in 2035 with the Volta Catalunya? Like, is there any end to what he can do?
Speaking of Roglič, we talked about it on the members portal, but for our usual audience, I said we were in Slovenia. So this morning we were actually at an event at the bottom of the ski slope in what's it called? Is it called Planica? Planica?
I think so. Yeah.
Planica. For people who follow cycling and who have seen, in a former life, Primož Roglič was a very successful ski jumper, and he had a horrible accident on that ski slope of Planica where we were this morning, which was basically the start of the cycling career of Primož Roglič, right? That accident was the introduction of Primož Roglič into another sport because he started riding a bike in his rehab. Horrible accident, and I could witness today, if you stand there on the bottom of that slope, it's unbelievable how steep that is. You cannot see this, or you cannot have a sense on pictures or TV. It's crazy. Man, you have to be crazy to do a sport like this. Just, taking off with the skis and flying in the air. We were there this morning, and we were talking and thinking about Primož Roglič.
It's funny. I've been to that same ski jump and had the exact same thought of it. When you see it in person, you think there's nobody who in their right mind would, hey, you want to go up there and ski down that and jump off it? You'd say, no way. And they're like, Primož Roglič is a wild man. Like,
was it in the summer or the winter you went there?
It was summer. It was August.
Okay. Well, today was today. We didn't stay for the competition, but today was the last. Today and tomorrow is the last race for the World Cup ski jumping, and there were already some people on there with skis and preparing the slopes, and it's crazy. It's so steep.
It's fun. On that same trip, I did the TT course for the Slovenian National Championships.
Oh,
I did it. I was like averaging 300 watts for the course. So it's like pushing pretty hard. And then a kid came out and did it twice as fast as I did. And that kid was Tadej Pogačar. And I was like, wow, this guy's going to be pretty good. Oh, no, he ended up being pretty good. Johan, who do you think is going to win Catalunya?
I have a weak spot for Primož. I think Primož.
I think so too. I also think if he loses, it's not going to rattle him. Like you think?
No, absolutely not. No. Well, listen, logically Ayuso should win because Ayuso is in incredible shape. He won Tirreno. He won those races there he won a race in France. He won La Guelia. He knows how to finish the job, right? But he's up against Primož Roglič, who is very strong in this kind of races.
Are we looking at the Red Bull lineup for 2026? Are these guys going to be teammates next year? Because I just cannot think that Ayuso, it's like, is he just really going to stay at UAE and not race the Tour?
He has a contract till 2029. That's number one. I assume it's a really good contract. And then on top of that, I've been told there's an incredible high buyout. Something like, I don't know, 20, 30 million or something. Pogacar has a $100 million buyout. So we all know nobody can buy that contract, right? So, I mean, I don't know if even if he would want to leave, then the team would really want to let him leave. And I don't think that's going to happen.
Well, I guess, yeah, if you let him go, then, okay, you don't have to pay him, but then you have to race against him at the Tour. So in some ways...
It's not a concern for the moment for Pogacar, Ayuso, but it could be in the future.
Yeah, I'm also a proponent of, it's like you are very familiar with this. People complaining like, I want to be the leader on this team. But so-and-so is leading the team. It's like, you can always just stay. Like, there's no guarantee that person's going to be healthy.
Well, I mean, listen, for the moment, he's leading the team in all the races he's doing, and Pogacar's not there. I mean, it's not a bad situation,
Yeah. Yeah, there's no guarantee. Like, look at Chris Froome. Like, he had a year where he just crashed out of the Tour. Like, no one gets infinite clean runs at the Tour de France. It's very unusual. Also, Matthew, before we move on, Mathieu Brennan, 19 years old, British rider on Visma, has won stage one. Incredible, by the way. I don't know. Just to sum it up really quickly, Alpecin had a rider kind of noodle off. It's this really tricky, wet descent if it's raining, but it's always a tricky descent. And you go into town and then you have like 500 meters uphill. But Alpecin had the perfect situation because they had a rider off the front. They had Caden Groves sitting in the group. So Mathieu Brennan has to sprint basically the whole uphill section.
Well, no, he was not. Caden Groves was sitting in the group. He was sitting on the wheel of Mathieu Brennan.
On the wheel, and he couldn't come around.
Brennan, that stage one, was it stage one? It was stage one.
It was stage one, yeah.
That performance of Mathieu Brennan is probably one of the strongest of the season. If you look at the way this guy rode and the way he won, he did a 1.5 kilometer pull with Caden Groves on the wheel, reeled in Caden Groves' teammate, and then still beat both of them in the sprint. And then won again today, right? Today's stage he won. So that's two stages.
He was second on stage 2, and then won again today.
And he already won the Dana in a few weeks ago, last week. And very tactically also. He's 19 years old, but he's so mature as a racer. And then I guess he won 2 other races, which are under 23 races before that. By the way, we spoke about Mathieu Brennan in our Up and Comers show. To say we need to watch this guy, and then the guy who almost won the stage, Tibor Del Grosso. It's a huge talent. Also, we also named him in our Up and Comers show. So I was happy to see that 2 of our picks for the Up and Comers were 1 and 2. And today again, right? 1 and 2.
1 and 2. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. No, Del Grosso was 3rd in stage 1, I think. Yeah. Caden Groves was 2nd.
Like stage 1 of the Tour Down Under, this guy gets 2nd, Mathieu Brennan. And I'd never heard of him before. I was like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
And little did we know, it kind of speaks to this trend that I don't have an explanation for it, but it's like, however you come into the season really is how you are. Like, if you look at the early stages of the Tour Down Under, that used to have no correlation to anything else. And you look at these guys who are strong early on, they just kind of like carry that form in a way that didn't used to happen.
Yeah,
not
for
only
sure.
Carry it, like improve on it. I'd be quite interested to learn a little bit more about that. He's 19. There was some calls on social media today, like this guy should be at the Tour of Flanders, but
no,
19 years old. I think maybe this is the better program for him.
Oh yeah, for sure. I have to say, the guy, the way he behaves in the final of a race, that guy's a finisher. He's a killer. Knows how to, make his move at what time. It's crazy how mature these young guys are and how race savvy they are.
Yeah. I mean, and Ineos is having a good year. So I'm not ragging on them, but I'm just saying, a couple of years ago, this is a guy that would have been on Ineos, but he's a British rider on Visma. And you're like, how did
yet again. Yeah. It's too much. It's not normal.
No, and it's like, and they're always like the finishers. They think of Stevie Williams as like big race winner, and he's on a second division team instead of his.
Spencer, now that you've been talking, I'm just thinking now. Like we said about Visma, like not being anywhere close to where they have to be. And if you look at the other races, they won in Catalunya today. They also won in Coppi Bartali today with Ben Tullet. Two wins today for Visma. Right, so we shouldn't be too harsh on them.
What happened to these guys? And these are good young riders too. Another British rider, Ben Tullet. So their classics core is having some problem. Like Christophe Laporte, what was this illness that he has?
He has a virus. It's something. I mean, it's not exactly the same. It's something like mononucleosis, something similar. It's
okay. So he's sidelined for a while.
Yeah, it's it takes time to recover, and it's something that it's very, very annoying. You don't know how long you need. It's bad. I mean, bad. He's gonna be okay, but he's gonna be out for a while.
And before we go, do you want to classic Bruja de Pana? There was 4 crashes in the last 2K. Not raining, by the way. It was dry. Mm-hmm. Jonathan Milan, this was like what is now an infamous headbutt on Alexander Kristoff. But I think you had some thoughts on these crashes and the.
Oh yeah, I mean, first of all, listen, it's a flat race. There was not a lot of wind, good weather. Most likely, this is going to be a bunch sprint. And it all depends on how easy the race has been and how fresh the guys are. But if you look at the lineup of all these teams, all the sprinters were there with teams to support them. So it's kind of a guarantee that it's going to be a bunch sprint and everybody's going to want to be in the front. And then if you look at the last 4 or 5K, it was local circuits. So you could argue, okay, they've passed there already 3 times before, but there's not a single time that they've passed there in the circumstances that they go in the finish lap. This is war. It's like everybody's fighting for position and teams are bringing up their guys and they're, bumping shoulders and pushing each other. And it's what happens during a race, which is in the sprint. And, you can look at it under a microscope and say, oh, this is not allowed and this is not allowed. And it happens. If you have 150 guys together to the finish with their sprinters fresh and teammates who are relatively fresh, and with those kind of roads at the end, especially goes from wide to narrow and wide again, then traffic separations like these little traffic islands, and man, it was there was 4 crashes. It was unbelievable. It was so hard to watch. It was one after the big crashes with like 15, 20 guys all at once. So I would say this race needs to change their course if they want to, because they call themselves the World Championships of the sprinters, because all the best sprinters were there. If you want to call yourself that in that way, you need to make sure that you have a final worthy of a World Championships for sprinters. This was not worthy of a World Tour. It was a World Tour race, no?
Ooh, that's a good question. I have it pulled up here if I can find it.
I think it's a World Tour race.
It is a World Tour race, yeah.
So no, that's a big no. You can't have that. Anyway, it doesn't matter even if it's not a World Tour race. It needs to be safe. So they need to change. They have acknowledged that there's a problem, and the next year, I'm telling you, it's not going to be that finish. No way. And then you have things that happen. I've seen this headbutt from Milan to Kristoff, and got a yellow card, and then not saying what Milan did was justified or correct, but these things do happen when you have all these guys fighting for position. Milan, in my opinion, his headbutt was a reaction to Alexander Kristoff, who was next to him, who pushed him. Not just a little push. He pushed him literally like out of his trajectory. Milan almost hits the wheel of his lead out guy. I think it was Edward Teuns, I'm not sure, but a guy of Little Trek was his lead out guy was in front. So he had to go back to the right, and he did a headbutt. That's true. It's not right. But I think a yellow card was okay. Christoph also got a yellow card, by the way. So the proof is that it was a reaction to Christoph's maneuver. If you would talk amongst guys out in the peloton who are used to be in that extremely intense war in the final, they would say, okay, that it happens. It's, we're going to do it whenever we have to do it also. Because, in a sprint, man, if you break your law, who breaks is gone. That's, and you have to also take into account, you have your whole team working the whole day to put you in a position. And then because one guy pushes you with his shoulder, you're not going to let yourself be pushed away. You're going to push back.
Yeah. I mean, I'm the world's worst at pushing people in bunch sprints, which is why I didn't win a lot of major criteriums, but it always cracks me up. But it's like, people get like, oh, that's against rules. It's like, well, yeah, that's how people win these races. They're just like pushing people around to get to the front.
Yeah. I have a message for all the guys, all the people who judge and who, think that they can dictate what should happen. And, as I've seen, this guy needs to be disqualified straight away, or banned for 2 weeks, or here's the news. This sport is not for pussies. This is a war. And, if you don't push, you get pushed. It's as simple as that. So, it's the way it is. If you want to win a race, you have to focus on the line and just get there, of course, without putting in danger someone else. But if you have to push your way through it, these guys are going to do it. That's the way it is. And on top of that, there was 4 major crashes, and none of them was a consequence of the headbutt of Jonathan Milan or the shoulder push of Christoph. Around them, there was 3 or 4 other riders. They didn't move. They weren't even bothered. They just kept going. They saw it happening next to them and in front of them, and they just went, Well,
the headbutt's kind of the pro move. I mean, because the worst thing you could do is take your hands off the bar and push
you
somebody.
Can't do that. No, you can't do that. You cannot, as long as you keep your hands on the bars and you don't, I honestly, Spencer, and, obviously, listen, I have my ideas, and, some of them, a lot of them are probably a bit old fashioned. I'm not saying that they're wrong, but, a bit old fashioned, or at least not following the sensitive softness of whatever people think nowadays. But that's not just in cycling, it's in life. I think, I see what teenagers do and don't do and the way they think. I'm obviously a different generation, but it's a tough sport, man. And it's not for softies. No.
Can you imagine taking a headbutt from Jonathan Milan? The guy is like the longest neck. He's got like a 2-foot long neck that's so strong.
Okay, but listen, let me tell you, Alexander Christoph is no lightweight either. He's a heavyweight. He was not too bothered. He was not too bothered by the headbutt. Let me tell you.
He's also not part of the softy generation that you're talking about. That's a hard guy.
Warrior. These guys are warriors, man. Warriors, and I like this guy. I like those guys. I'm not too bothered by the headbutt, actually. I saw an interview of Tom Bonen, who, has won a lot of bunch sprints and was always in there. And he actually gave a really good explanation. He said, it happens. It's not a problem. He says, I had to do it all the time. He said, my biggest problem when I was a cyclist and I was fighting for position is that I had a problem with the little guys, with Cavendish, with McEwen, with Freire, because they came to lean against me, but they were under my arm. They were not against his shoulder. They were under his arm. And so that was a lot more dangerous. He said, I didn't care too much of, leaning against a guy of my size because we kind of keep each other in balance. The little sprinters were dangerous for him.
I was wondering about that with Milan, because Krusov's a big guy, but if you're just Cavendish, could he even reach him? He literally might not be able to headbutt him. He's
it would be against his hip. It's against his hip. It's not against his shoulder. It's against the hip. Yeah, they lean also. They also lean.
I mean, those guys. I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to say anything, but those guys are the worst. They're leaning all over. No one can see them. They get away with everything. But you have anything else to add, Johan? I think we're going to be back on Monday.
On Monday
about Gent-Wevelgem in Catalunya.
Yeah.
Hopefully George is with us.
Well, for Gent-Wevelgem, George has no choice as an ex-winner. He has to be. I will make it an obligation. I will force him.
It's an in-house rule. If you've won the race, you have to do the show.
Yeah.
Which is, I actually don't know if we're going to get Lance to do Flush Wallone, but we'll try.
Yeah, he should do that race.
Well, Johan, we will talk soon, and enjoy your weekend of pretty exciting Sunday with the Catalunya and Gent-Wevelgem. Who's your pick for Gent-Wevelgem?
Man, I haven't really. I mean, so Van der Poel's not doing it. Pogacar's not doing it. Pedersen, no?
That's what I think.
It depends. It depends on the weather also. I mean, we were talking about that today, man. All these classics in the northern Europe, it's all good weather now. We want to see some epic rides also, with cold and wind and rain. I'm sure the riders don't like it, but man, as a spectator, it's amazing.
Well, they could just do Paris-Nice for that. That's now the bad weather race. These northern classics are the fantastic weather, I guess. It looks great. People are going to be moving to Flanders in droves from this weather.
Okay, Spencer. Thanks.
All right, we'll talk soon.
Okay, bye-bye.